friends, welcome back. Make sure to grab your notepad and or your notebook and to take notes as we're going along with this. Today we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting in scientific notation. Now, in this first example here, you'll see we have 8 times 10 to the third plus 5 times 10 squared. The only way that you can add and subtract in scientific notation is to make sure that your tens, this part of your scientific notation has to match. So we either need to fix this first one or we need to fix this second one. And I'm gonna go ahead and fix that second one. So what I mean by fix, let's go ahead and we're gonna write this down as 8 times 10 to the third plus. Now I skip a line as I'm taking my notes just so that it's easier for you to see, but in your notebook so you don't have to do that. Now, what I mean by this, remember if a decimal is not shown, it's always at the end here. What I want to do is make this guy 3. So that means I'm going to make this number larger by 1, which means I need to make this number smaller by 1. So I'm going to take that decimal, I'm going to move it over 1 spot. So now what I have is 0.5 times 10. 2 plus 1 will give me 3. And now these guys match. And so this next step, you don't have to write this down every time, but I want you to see what we're really doing is taking this 8 and this 0.5, and we're adding those guys because there's that adding. That looks like a minus, so I should probably circle that in. Okay, so we are taking 8 plus 0.5, and then we're multiplying it by 10 to the third power because that matches. So we're distributing. It's basically distribution. So what we end up with is 8.5 times 10 to the third. So we've gone ahead and added this guy correctly. Let's take a look at this next one. The same idea. What we want to do is make sure that we're getting either the 10 to the negative 1 or 10 squared. We need those guys to match. We can do either one, but I'm going to choose this first one here. So in order for this to become a 2, I have to add 3 to it, right? Negative 1 plus 3 will give me a positive 2. Now, adding means I'm making this larger, so I have to make this smaller. So I'm going to go in the 1, 2, 3 in the negative direction. So I end up with a decimal here and a 0, 0 for placeholders. So now my new equation, or my new scientific notation expression is 0.14 times 10, and then negative 1 plus 3 is 2 in parentheses here. And then 5.1 times 10 squared. Okay, so now what we've got is we're going to take this guy right here and we're going to add it to this right here. So we end up with 5 and 0.1014 times 10 squared. So that's 5 and 1014 10,000ths times 10 squared. Good. Now the same idea for subtracting. You do the same thing, it's just that you need to make sure that those tens are matching and that you subtract these numbers instead of adding. So again, you can pick either this one or this one to fix. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and fix the second one this time so you can see. So I need that to become a negative 1. In order to get a negative 1, I'm going to add 1 because negative 2 plus 1 will give me negative 1. Adding means I'm making this larger, so I got to make this smaller by 1. So I'm going to take my decimal and move it over 1 spot, just like that. So let's rewrite this guy. We get 8.1 times 10 to the negative 1 minus 4/10 times 10 to the negative 1. Good. So now my tens match here. So I have 8.1 minus 0.4. And then I have times 10 to the negative 1. Excellent. Now we just have to do our math here. We get 7.7. If I think about that right, yep, 7.7 times 10 to the negative 1. And it is always a good idea to box up your answers or circle them or make them easy to identify when you're doing your homework. Okay, fourth example is going to be the same thing. We're going to do some subtraction here, but we got to get these guys to match. I'm going to go ahead and fix this one at the end here. So let me rewrite this. 3.8 times 10 to the negative 5 minus, and I need this to be a negative 5. So I'm going to add 2 to that because negative 7 plus 2 will give me that negative 5. Making this larger, so I got to make this smaller by 2. So now what I have is 0.094 times 10 to the negative 5. All right, so what we're going to do is minus. We're going to take this minus this guy, and we'll end up with 3.706 times 10 to the negative 5th. Excellent work. I look forward to seeing you folks next time.